Hi there, this video is on building rubrics. Now, if you haven't seen a rubric before, I thought I'd show you one because without first seeing what a rubric is, the mechanics of a rubric may be a bit confusing. So a rubric is basically a table with two dimensions, and they're used to set expectations for students so they know what good performance, satisfactory performance, unsatisfactory performance looks like, and helps you as an instructor grade students because it sets out objective criteria for marking student work as well. So looking at this rubric, we'll notice the criteria going down the page. So the criteria here is organization, accuracy of language use, understanding of topic, and we scroll down, I think there's another one as well, accuracy of information and understanding of different culture. And then for each criterion, there's a set of grading levels. So this one goes from low to high. So basically in terms of organization, the presentation was difficult to follow, all the way up to the best performance, which is the presentation is easy to follow. So for each criterion, they tell students what good looks like and what poor performance looks like as well. So students can use a rubric almost like a checklist when they're doing their work to go, yes, I know I am going to get a B for this, or I'm going to push myself to get an A, and they can review their work and get kind of some knowledge around and self-reflection of their own work as they're going through it as well. So with this in mind, let's have a go at building rubrics in Brightspace. So here I am on my course home, and rubrics are hard to find initially, but that's okay because once you set them up, you won't need to find them again. So that's why they're a little bit buried. So to access our rubrics, we go to Course Tools, we go to Course Admin, and rubrics are associated with assignments. So if we go down to Assessment, we can find rubrics down here in Assessment. Also, you can also view all our tools by name. So if you select name, then it becomes in alphabetical order. So if you're having trouble finding something, you can use that method to find it as well. So it's either in the assessment category, or if you go by name, is rubrics. So here we are on our rubrics page. To create a new rubric, we just hit the new rubric button. Again, if I haven't said before, blue indicates something to do, so we'll hit the blue new rubric button, and this fires off our edit rubric screen. So here is where we create our rubrics. So we'll give it a name. Let's do a video presentation rubric. There are two different types of rubrics. One's called analytic, where it breaks it down to different criterion, which is really useful so students know how they're going to be assessed. There's also one called a holistic rubric, which puts everything into one bucket. Now this isn't so great because it becomes a little bit harder to differentiate between what good and bad is because everything's just lumped into one big category. So I definitely recommend doing an analytic rubric because it breaks down what good performance looks like into different categories so students can build on that as well. So by just going backwards and forwards, I may have lost some criterions. So we'll give ourselves a number of criterion. So to add a criterion, we just hit the add criterion button. So once added, then we'll add another one, and we'll add 4 criterion. And then across the top, I recommend we put our levels of performance. Now this one goes from high to low. I personally recommend going from high to low because for each one, I generally just want students to know what top performance is, and then if they're interested in going down, they can read downwards. But generally, I don't want to have that divided attention effect where they have to look for the criterion and they have to look all the way over to the column on the far right hand side to see what good is. I like to keep good very close to what the criterion is. That's my preference. But it's up to you what you'd like to do. So let's give this a exceeds expectations. And then we'll have very good. Also, the next one can be, if I can actually click in the box, we'll have very good, satisfactory, and developing. Now, I recommend using positive language such as developing. If you tell a student they're unsatisfactory, then that might stick to them and they might become unmotivated. But if you're saying developing, then they've got kind of that idea that they're below average, but they can still have an opportunity to keep improving as well. So it's just a motivational speech as well. And like you might have another category if you really want to, just hit the plus button to add another one, such as not submitted. I know this is a presentation, but or not attended since it's a presentation. So they weren't there. They didn't present at all. So another thing we might notice here is that our criterion add up. So I often recommend that we grade out of 100. So we've got 4 categories, each one worth 4. If we want to grade this out of 100, then I would recommend giving this one 25. Now, a gotcha that many people have is that they make the middle one half of what the top one is. So half of 25 is 12.5. And just asking us to update a few others, so it can't be very good, grading very good, so I'll make that 20. Now the potential challenge here is, if it's satisfactory, then they're getting 50%. If you look at your own grading schedules, you might find that a D is worth 60%. So satisfactory is actually getting a D grade. So sometimes you might want to just bump up the middle grade a little bit so that it's kind of that average C grade. And that's probably about 75%. I'm just going to say 16%. You can do the maths in your own time to work out what that is. I'm going to up this one to 22.5. Actually, I'll be more generous. I'll make this one here 18. Developing, I'll make as a 50% mark. So they're still getting points for it. They tried, but they're not quite there yet. And for not attended, they'll get 0. They didn't do anything. Then we have a different criterion. Now we can look back at our previous one to see what criterion they had again. So they had organization, understanding of topic, and accuracy. So just for I'm going to go organization, understanding, we'll go understanding of topic, and then we can add a couple more. Now, you can make up your own criterion. This is generally the high levels of what you're looking to judge students and evaluate students on as well. So if this is a presentation which is about keeping on time, so you can always say, kept on time. And, if it's a job interview, it could also be, like dress, general presentation skills. Great. So we've now named 4 criterion: organization, understanding, we've got understanding of topic, kept on time, and general presentation skills. Then the next step is to outline each of these boxes what good looks like. So exceed expectations. So you can type here what your view of what exceeds expectations looks like. So clear, concise, well organized, and so on. Developing, could be, I suggest using positive language. So, you could always say opportunity to present a structured argument. what I'm trying to say is it's incoherent, but again, I'd suggest changing that around to being in a positive frame. And you can find many rubrics online. So if we go back to this one, you could always just copy and paste what they had there and put it back into your own rubric. So you define what these levels are at each grading level as well. For organization, you go through and update each single one. Then at the bottom, your expectations would be, so this is basically where you're defining what your A level grade, your B level grade, and C level grade is. Again, I would always exceeds expectations, because in your assignment you're actually assigning your grade. So perhaps just keep it general language just here. That'd be my recommendation. But you could always say, like a B level presentation, C level, and so on. The average, and you could always just use whatever method you'd want to use for your overall score. But here we go. So exceeds expectations, in my opinion, it could be 94 or more. B level, often that comes down to about 80 level. 80. Could be 84. Average could be around our 74. And unsatisfactory would just be between average and 0. So there we go. So we have set this up. If we wanted to swap the order so that the starts at 0, we can just reverse the order by hitting that button. Now, a question I often get is, but Todd, not all my criterion are weighed the same. What if I want my general presentation skills be worth a lot more than kept on time? I see that as being more important. So what we can do a little bit of a hack. So I'm going to change this back to 100. I think very good starts about 85. Or say satisfactory is 75. Again, look at the grade schedule in your department when seeing these, and so that you're consistent with everybody else in your department as well. So if we want to create different different weighting for each criterion, from the scoring, we'll go custom points. So now we have custom points for each criterion. So each criterion now currently is out of 100. So if we want, and adds up to 400, but if we want general presentation skills to be worth 30% of the whole grade, we can type 30 into this box, and watch this. It'll automatically recalculate these so that it's along the lines of our percentage points as well. If kept on time is only worth 10% of our grade, we can set that up. And understand the topic, that's really important for us, so we'll make that 40%. Bang. And our other one will be 20, organization. There we go. So what we have now is an assignment that adds up to 100, but we have different weightings for different criterion. So that's pretty cool. So we'll now close this. And a question I always get then is like, okay, Todd, how do I add that to an assignment? If I go to one of my assignments, we'll go to my assignment. So I'm just going to edit this assignment. So I'm just going to click on the chevron and go edit assignment. We add our rubrics in the evaluation and feedback section. So I'll just click on this down arrow and it gives me the option to add a rubric. So I click on that one. I'll go my add existing. I'll add the rubric I just created. Here's my video presentation rubric, and voila, it's added to my assignment. So this is visible to students. I'm going to save and close this. And then I'm going to go into student view just to show you what it looks like for a student. So to go into student view, I'm going to hit on my name, view as a student. and I find this assignment. Here's my assignment. I click on it, and from a student perspective, you are shown your instructions, and underneath your instructions, you get your rubric. So you can see how much things are worth. You can also see the explanations for different things and the different criterion as well, and how much it's totally weighed out of. So basically everything that you wrote into your rubric is reflected to the students as well, and that's it. I think they're a wonderful tool to help students evaluate their own work and help themselves improve. So it teaches students how to learn. So they learn how to learn through rubrics. They're a great tool. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.